Hello, I'm Nancy Harkness, a romance author, and this is Writer Unedited number 73. Woohoo! I am sitting at my writing desk chatting about whatever happens to cross my mind. Nothing fancy except for my headdress today. And if you happen to miss a live, you can always find them on my YouTube channel, and I will put a link in the comments below. Hope you had a happy St. Patrick's Day. Oh, and I just want to point out, Moby is here. That's Moby sleeping in the window. My sweet little kitty. Hope you had a happy St. Patrick's Day, or St. Catrick's Day, as Skoda and Moby prefer to call it. So it turns out that St. Patrick's Day is also St. Gertrude's Day, and everybody keeps telling me that St. Gertrude is the patron saint of cats, which is something I didn't know until very recently. Gail's here. Hi, Gail. How are you? So good to see you. Thank you for coming by and for telling me you're here. Anyone else who's here, please say hi in the comments. So I was really curious about this St. Gertrude person because I'm honestly not familiar with her, and I have cats. Sarah! Hi, Sarah! Thanks for stopping by. It's so nice to see you here. So I did a little research on St. Gertrude. Because, after all, she likes cats, so she's my kind of person. So what I found out was surprising. Gertrude of Nivelle was born around 1628 AD. And died on March 17th, 659 AD. Hence, this is her day because she died today. They're pretty sure about that date, which interests me. They're not so sure about her birth date. She was the daughter of Pepin. Think Pippin, if you guys know the Broadway show, which I love, Pippin. And Ita, who were both nobles and were attached to the court of King Dagobert I of Austrasia, which is roughly equivalent to Belgium today. Yeah, this is a while ago, back in the 600s. So supposedly, so nobles, they were part of the royal court. Supposedly, when Gertrude was 10, her father gave a banquet, and the king came. And the king asked Gertrude if she would be willing to marry the son of a Duke of Austrasia for political reasons. Now, keep in mind she's 10. She says, not a chance. I am not going to marry anyone. I'm going to become a nun. And that actually stopped the marriage for a while. But, you know, women didn't really have a lot of choices in those days. So it's probable that she would have gotten married off eventually anyway. But her father died, good old Pippin. And so her mother, trying to protect her daughter because bad things happened to young virginal girls in those days, built a convent. She obviously had money. And both of them went into the convent after Pippin's death. And they were protected there. So Gertrude became the abbess of the convent, and it was, or maybe it was a monastery. Maybe it was called a monastery. Anyway, it had both monks and nuns in separate facilities, interestingly. And Gertrude was evidently a very good person and, you know, cared for the sick and the poor and prayed a lot and fasted a lot. And as a result, she died at a very young age. I think she was 31, 32, 33, something like that. Poor, sad Gertrude. So this is her history. Where are the cats in all of this? This is what I wanted to know. Well, it turns out there were no cats. Somehow, in 1981, the Metropolitan Museum of Art published a catalog that had the first reference to Gertrude as the patron saint of cats. 1981 or 82, somewhere in there. So what's with that? I don't, you know, how did she get associated with cats? And also so recently. So there's a lot of speculation. So some speculation is that they're confusing her. Somebody was confusing her with the goddess, what was her name? She was Germanic, Frigg, who was occasionally depicted riding a cat. I'm not sure how Frigg and Gertrude got conflated, but they think they might have. But the other idea is that in the 15th century, Gertrude suddenly shows up with rats and mice running like up her staff or around her feet because she was a protector actually against rats and mice who carried, of course, the bubonic plague. And so she was protecting people against getting the plague. And so she was anti-rats and mice, even though they showed them in pictures. And of course, who is the most effective and efficient at getting rid of rats and mice? Cats. So I'm assuming, and everybody else is assuming, that she got associated with cats because of the rats and mice. So it turns out that this whole thing about Gertrude being the patron saint of cats is, number one, very modern, 1981, and completely fictional, basically. So I wasn't wrong to be confused about this, since I had never heard of Gertrude being the patron saint of cats until very recently. But there are some really cute things you can find on Etsy, that have Gertrude and cats, and they tend to depict her as a young woman because she died very young, holding a kitty cat in her arms. So who can argue with that? I don't have a problem with appointing Gertrude patron saint of cats, because after all, it was well after she died that she became patron saint of protection against rats and mice. So whatever. Let's see. Patricia's here. Hi, Patricia. Good luck tomorrow, Patricia. I think it's tomorrow, right? Is that when you have your surgery? Anyway, hoping that all goes well. Gail says, I bet the cats don't care as long as they have their day. Absolutely. Oh, come on. Every day's cat day. Gail. Cats, they believe every day is meant to celebrate them, right? I think it's because they were worshipped as gods in Egypt and they've never gotten over that. So, and by the way, I know it's not still St. Patrick's Day, but I only get to wear these once a year. So I decided to dig them out. We'll call it St. Patrick's Week, right? And St. Gertrude's Week. Why not? So that was my very in-depth research on St. Gertrude and cats. But I'm kind of glad to know that I'm not crazy and not realizing that they even had a patron saint. Patricia, it is tomorrow. You're so welcome. I will be thinking of you and definitely sending you a lot of good vibes for a good surgery and a good recovery. Okay, so this is not going to be a long live because other than St. Gertrude, I don't have a lot to talk about except Raoul. If anybody has questions about Raoul, put them in the comments real fast, and I will tell you that I am so close to the end that I can taste it. I think, and I emphasize the think part because, I'm a pantser. I don't plot. So I'm never quite sure. But I think that I only have 2 more scenes and the epilogue to write. Now I have to finish the scene that I'm working on now. But 2 more scenes in the epilogue. I might end up adding another scene or 2. You never know if I think it's necessary. Sometimes that crops up. But in my brain right now, there are only 2 more scenes in the epilogue, and I'm so excited about finishing this book. It's so weird. I don't know why, but really up until February 1st, I honestly had no idea when I was going to finish this book. I'm not sure why I was having such a problem wrapping my mind around it, except that it's just fought me every step of the way. But I just couldn't picture finishing it. Isn't that bizarre? So it is really exciting for me to feel like I can see the end now. And I was so sure that I was going to finish it soon that I sent Raoul off to my cover designer, and I can't wait to see. So this is the image I sent for her to use. This is the one you guys liked. I don't know how many lives ago, but several lives ago, you guys voted on which Raoul you liked. And this was your guy. And I love this picture, actually. It's funny, now that I, have this picture of him, that's how I picture him myself in my mind. So he really works for me. So my cover designer is getting to work on a cover. Yay! Can't wait to see the cover. Can't wait to show you guys the cover. It'll be so much fun. So where am I in the book? I'm at what I call the misery stage. Not misery for me, misery for my characters because I have torn my two lovers apart and they are both absolutely wretched and they're questioning all their life choices. Okay, so it's like exaggeration. They're questioning their choice to fall in love with each other. Since Raul can offer no long-term promises to Erica because he has to think about his wife as the future queen and he feels an obligation to marry for almost strategic purposes. You know, it's not like back in Pearl Gertrude's time where you really did have to marry for political reasons. But, you know, his father married a woman who was from the nobility the first time. And he feels the duty to do that. So, you know, Erica is just Erica and a pilot and not nobility. And she knows that and she accepts that because she is a native Calavan, and so she understands what the obligations of the royal family are, probably in a way that, say, Quinn or even Eve from the United States really didn't. Or didn't really on a sort of intuitive level, you know, kind of intellectually they did. So Erica knew this from the start, and she is now calling herself all kinds of insulting names for being so stupid as to give her heart to Raul when she knew it was a futile proposition. So they're both miserable. Some writers love this part because it's very emotional. I hate it because I hate making my beloved characters miserable, honestly. So I try and get through it really fast. So, so I'm just finishing the misery scene for Erica, and I'm about to move on to the misery scene for Raul, but the good news is Raul's misery scene gets resolved pretty quickly just because that's the way it worked out. Sarah says, almost finished my second book in 25 years, so I'm anxious about the next. Yay, Sarah. So glad. Don't worry. It's coming. It is. It'll be this year. And I told you I already have my editors scheduled. So depending on, you know, how long it takes each of them to get it done, because there are 3: developmental, copy editor, proofreader, right? So let's see. Moving on to my last section, which is sale books. So this month, my editor has put The Place I Belong on sale on Kindle for $1.99, right? Yes, $1.99. So this is the 3rd book in my Whisper Horse series, which is 3 novels and a novella. The novella comes between book 1 and book 2, I think. I can't remember now. I have to look it up. I know, you'd think I would remember this stuff, but, you know, I mean, I did write it after all. But this was, like, how long ago was this? More than 10 years ago that I started this series anyway. So this is the story about Adam the chef and Hannah the veterinarian. And central to the story is Adam's son and this cute little whisper pony named Satchmo. So I had a whisper pony, so I wanted to have a whisper pony in one of my Whisper Horse books instead of all Whisper Horses, right? This book actually won a ton of awards, so you never know which book is going to do well in writing awards. But this one did really well. It was, in fact, a Rita finalist, but it won multiple awards. So I know that sounds braggy, doesn't it? It's not really. I'm just always interested in which ones win and which ones don't. Okay, the other one on sale in Kindle is Second to None, which is actually the kickoff novella for my Second Glances series. And the Second Glances series is the one where there are rescue pups and disadvantaged children and billionaires. Great combination, right? Cute. You can see the little rescue pup. This is not a very good reproduction of the cover. The novella is only on Kindle. There is no print version of it. That's why I have this weird bound copy, because I think I needed it for a contest. It also won an award in a contest, by the way, but not multiple ones like The Place I Belong. And then finally on sale, and this is on sale until April 13th, is Royal Caleva Luis in audio. And it's on sale for $12.50, which is 50% off the regular audio price. I will put a link to this in the comments and a link to the other books in the comments. I was very happy to hear from several readers, by the way, that they really liked the narrator for Gabrielle and Luis, both of which are the same narrator. Nick, I do know his last name. I can't think of it. But he was, so people sometimes ask how I get narrators. So the publisher offered me a choice of 3. And I listened to all 3 of them, and I liked Nick's voice the best, and I also thought he handled the foreign words the best, because I have a lot of foreign words. And one reader specifically complimented him on the pronunciation of foreign words, but several have said they just like his voice, think he does a good job. So that was nice to hear that I picked the right narrator, because that's always a little nerve-wracking. Okay, so honestly, that's all I have to talk about. Next week's live is canceled. I have an insane week next week schedule-wise, and I really want to get this book finished. So every minute of available time I am going to spend on getting Raul's book finished. And I know you want me to do that too, so I apologize for not being here next week. I will miss you guys. I really will. I'm not even joking about that. But I will be back the following week. In April, oh my God, it will be April. That's terrifying. Hopefully I will be revising Raul's book by then. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But I really need to finish this book this month. So that's why I'm bailing on you next week. Sorry about that. Any other comments from anyone? So nice to see so many people here. Thank you all for coming by. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Patricia, again, hugs for tomorrow. Fingers crossed. All those good things. Everyone take care. Bye-bye.